Well, hello and good morning. It is not even 6 a.m. right now. I woke up at 5 a.m. I have to leave at 6 a.m. so it's somewhere in between. I'm photographing a wedding today and I'm going to bring this beauty, which is the 70 to 200 millimeter lens. This one's from Nikon, aperture 2.8 through the entire focal length. I'm wearing my black jumpsuit again. I'm gonna wear a pink blazer on top of it. It's gonna be about 20 degrees. It's a little bit cloudy right now. It's gonna be an interesting day. It's gonna be a busy day. We're gonna go to a city hall, a church, and like a party location, and we're gonna ride our bicycles. So even the bride and groom, they're gonna ride their bicycle. They have rented bicycles for all the guests, including me. I have to go ahead of the guests and then take photos as they come riding their bicycle, and then I have to go fast again and be first to arrive at the city hall to take photos when they arrive. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have my backpack on my back with the heavy lens inside. I'm also gonna bring my 24 to 70 millimeter lens, aperture 2.8. I am bringing the 50 millimeter lens just in case. I also have a macro lens, like a 90 millimeter, but I can take photos of the rings and read the inscription and everything with my 24 to 70 millimeter lens, so I don't think I'm gonna bring the macro. I'm gonna bring two bodies, two full frame bodies, the D750 and the D610. I'm gonna bring some macadamia nuts, some water. I'm gonna bring a bag full of party supplies. Now, photo shoot extras, just like a fleece blanket, a picnic blanket, umbrellas, wooden like date blocks, like a Mr. and Mrs. garland from burlap, just some fun things that we can use during the photo session. Some business cards, my wallet, sunglasses, my phone. I'm gonna make my smoothie right now and some coffee to go. Now the smoothie is gonna make some noise, which is gonna suck. I already woke up my daughter at 5 when I went to the bathroom. She normally wakes up at 7:30 and she has to go to school today. Well, she wakes up at 7 usually. My son usually wakes up at 6:30 to 7. It's almost 6 right now. I'm gonna turn my blender on. I might wake them up. It's still quiet. Okay, I've decided to take this lens off, put the cap on, place it here. Then the 750 with the 24-70, which I'll be using most of the time, is gonna be here. Two speed lights. And then the 70 to 200 is in the top with my wallet. I have extra batteries. This feels like a puzzle, and everybody's awake now. And here's my party supplies. So here we go with the puzzle. One body, next body, speed light. And here we have the wallet, sunglasses, battery charger, and the beast. And I might bring this extra, just in case, cheap 50 millimeter lens. You never know. And then I'll hold my phone and I'll leave that in the car when we go bike riding. Okay, so I should be there in 5 minutes. It's very quiet on the road, of course, because it's very early. And I'm on time, so that's always good. Not a lot of traffic, and I tried to leave a little bit earlier, so I'm on time, definitely. Let me tell you guys, that was absolutely hilarious. I was riding a bicycle with another girl, like two of us on one bicycle, and it's called like a tandem, and it is so weird, especially when you're sitting in the back because you cannot steer, and whenever the other one starts like pedaling, you have to start pedaling, and when they stop pedaling, you have to stop pedaling, and you have to completely trust them because they decide where you're going. And we had balloons in the back on a string. It was very funny. Anyway, so we took photos first, then we went to the house of the, like, we went to a house where we all got our bicycles, then we drove to the city hall on our bikes, then we went to church on our bikes, and now we're gonna go to the party location, and there we're gonna take the group photos and cut the cake and whatever. I have changed my mind about the 70 to 200mm lens, especially now today, because I'm using both 24 to 70 and 70 to 200. It's an amazing lens, especially for like the shoot with the bride and groom. I cannot use the 24 to 70 anymore because it's just not, you really miss that wow effect that you have when you take a photo at 200mm. So I'm gonna see if I can get like a prime lens for the next wedding, like 135mm or 85mm, because I need more. I really love the photos. It's still heavy. I still love it when you zoom into 200mm. It's not that spectacular when you take a photo at 17mm, even when you have your aperture at 2.8 or 3.2 or 3.5. But still, it is amazing. I really love it. It's heavy. You have to be pretty far away from the bride and groom. But yeah, now I'm gonna go to the party location. So let's get this car started and let's go. Okay, so I think that after I'm done taking the group shots, I'm going to change up the lenses again. I've used the body for both lenses, like the D750, because I know they are calibrated, well, they're sharp on that body. It can differ per body. So after we take the group shots, I'm gonna put the 70 to 200mm on my body again to take photos of the cake cutting and stuff, because it's outside. I think that would be really cool. Okay, finished, and it's already a little bit later than it should be, because when they say they're gonna do group photos at the end, it's always gonna take longer. And that was actually the time I had to go. I was allowed to go home. Anyway, so the group photos, so we did the group photos at the end, so I kept changing lenses, and then to finish it off, they wanted to go to the flower garden and take a few more photos. So we did that. So I ended up with the, so right now I still have the 70 to 200 on my camera. For the group photos was not a good idea. For the photos inside was not a very good idea either. But for the portrait photos of the bride and groom together, got so much sun on my face, I loved the lens. I'm gonna go home right now because the kids are waiting. So yeah, it's the day after the wedding. I got home at 5:30 p.m. pretty much. My husband already cooked, so we had dinner, just spent some time with the kids, brought them to bed, and then I placed all the photos from the wedding on an extra hard disk just to back it up, and on another extra hard disk. So I have 2 copies already, and it's still in the, like, I photographed on 2 SD cards at the same time, so I still have it on 1 SD card as well. So I've saved it on 3 different locations, and I'm going to start editing it later today to send the bride and groom the first preview, like the day after the wedding. Then I answered some emails, I went to bed, And this morning brought my daughter to school, and I'm here in the studio again. Today I have a sitter session and 2 newborn sessions. Usually I try to keep the day after the wedding relatively quiet and easy, so I have time to edit the first photo, send the preview, and just rest a little bit because shooting a wedding is quite intense. But we're picking up our puppy Jamie this Sunday, so like that Monday I wanted to have just an off day so I could spend some time with Jamie, and then the rest of next week I am taking it easy, so I have only 1 or 2 shoots per day, so I can spend some time at home with the puppy. My husband will be at home the whole week, so the puppy won't be alone, but still, you know, it's like having a newborn in your home. You want to be there the whole time. So today and tomorrow and Saturday will be full of sessions, and then Sunday we're going to pick up Jamie, and I will have nothing scheduled on Sunday and on Monday, so I'm really excited about that. But anyway, so shooting the wedding yesterday was really fun. I left really early, as you could see, so I could be there when the bride was still getting her makeup done and her hair. And then she got dressed, and actually the groom helped her getting dressed. I've never experienced that. Usually it's the mom of the bride or sisters or friends, and then it's a surprise what the bride is gonna look like. And the groom either like picks her up or sees her for the first time during the ceremony. But this time they actually picked out everything together, so he was already there when she picked out the dress. She was there when he picked out his suit, so they already knew what they were gonna look like, and he actually helped her getting dressed and she helped him getting dressed. So it was really cool for the photos. Then we went outside and we did our photo session. And so yeah, at the beginning of the photo session I swapped lenses. I did use the same body, the D750, because I knew they were calibrated on that body, like both of the lenses. So I could use it on the D610 to have on both bodies 1 lens, but I just decided to stay with 1 body. Also to have the photos in the same order, like on the same SD cards. So yeah, I used the 70-200 during the photo session with the bride and groom, and I'm so excited about this lens. Like when you're shooting like weddings and stuff, I was so happy I brought this lens. I think the portraits turned out amazing. The thing is, I tested out the 70-200 before during another video. I took photos of our family, our kids, and I really like the lens. I like it when I'm shooting at 200mm, so when I'm completely zoomed in. What I experience as a downside is that it is quite a heavy lens, because you can zoom from 70-200mm and have like the same aperture over the entire focal range. I mean, it's a great lens, but it's also very heavy, and I realized that I like shooting at 200mm and that I would just keep it there and move back and forth to take photos. And so I was thinking, why not just get a prime lens? Because then, I mean, you stay at 1 focal length and you just move back and forth, walking around to get more close-ups or to get like full body shots. And then when you have, for example, an 85mm lens, you can have an aperture of 1.4, which is even cooler than 2.8. So I thought, you know, maybe get a 85mm prime lens or 135mm prime lens instead of the 70-200 lens, which is heavy, expensive, and I like shooting at 200mm the whole time anyway. The fact that you can zoom makes the lens maybe a little bit more expensive and heavy, and if you don't use that option anyway, you're just staying at 1 focal length, why not get a prime lens? That was kind of my conclusion from the last video. Now shooting the bride and groom, I use it, and yeah, the bokeh is just amazing. Bokeh? I don't know how to pronounce that. I think it's a French word, and then you might say bokeh. Anyone can, you know, you can correct me in the comments, that's fine. Just remember, English is not my first language, so yeah, sometimes I make a mistake grammar-wise, or I pronounce a word wrong. Yeah, you kind of have to like, see past that and kind of like see if you can get the idea and the message and the point, and then if that came across, I think I did pretty well. But anyway, so the lens is amazing. It's super sharp. Even though you feel like you might be shaking a little bit because it's so heavy, like my arms are not that strong. But I used a little bit faster shutter speed. So instead of 200, I went to 250 so I could maybe not shake as much. The photos are super sharp and I love the blurry background. Now in this case, yesterday I did use the zoom function of the lens. So sometimes I would take full body shots at 70 millimeters or I don't know, 140 millimeters. And then I would take a close-up of their faces at 200 millimeters. I tried taking some full body shots at 200 millimeters as well, but we had to be a little bit fast, like we didn't have that much time. So me running back and forth, I didn't really have that option that much because I had to be super far away from the bride and groom. They couldn't hear what I was saying. I had to take a full body shot at 200 millimeters. So then I would like zoom out and take it maybe 140 millimeters. Yeah, but still the photos are amazing. So maybe with a portrait session, a prime lens would be good. Just to move back and forth, maybe change lenses in between the session. This time we just had to keep going. You know, during a wedding, sometimes you run a little bit late and you have to be at the ceremony at a certain time. So then the fact that you can zoom with the 70 to 200 is great because you can, you know, in a few seconds take a full body shot at, I don't know, 140 millimeters and zoom in at their faces at 200 millimeters. You don't really have to move back and forth. You don't have to swap lenses, so you can be faster and still take amazing photos. So I love taking photos with the 70 to 200 lens. I think it is absolutely great. Then we went to the ceremony and I actually placed my 24 to 70 lens on my camera again because I wanted to take, you know, photos of the whole ceremony, you know, people sitting in the city hall. The city hall is not that big that I could actually move like 20 meters out and then take a photo of the whole group. So yeah, I wanted to take like group shots, like overviews, of course also some close-ups and everything. So inside definitely the 24 to 70 worked way better. For the group shots as well, we did like photos with the parents, with the siblings, with the uncles and aunts, with the colleagues, with the friends. So then if I would have used the 70 to 200, I would have been all across the field taking a photo with everybody in there. Yeah, so for those kind of photos, I think this 24 to 70 is way better. But as soon as I put my 24 to 70 back on my body, I was kind of like bummed because I couldn't create this beautiful blurry background that I could with the 70 to 200, especially taking at 200. So there is such a difference in just the effect that you can create in your camera already. That I think the 70 to 200 is such a great lens to take with you to weddings. So I'm gonna have to give it back to Nikon because I'm just borrowing it. I'm probably not gonna buy it, but I want to buy like another prime lens just to bring to the weddings. And maybe the 85 or the 135. I'm not quite sure yet. Just let me know what's the perfect lens to shoot beautiful creamy blurry backgrounds and have your subject really smart, sharp and in focus. What's your favorite lens for that, like portrait sessions outside? Let me know. What is your favorite set of lenses to bring to a wedding? Put it in the comments as well. I usually bring a macro lens, like I have a 90mm macro lens for the ring shots. I can also take pretty decent macro shots with my 24 to 70 lens. Like you can read the inscription in the ring, like that's engraved in the rings. With that lens, you can come really close. With the 70 to 200, you cannot. If you come too close to something, it's gonna stop, you know, focusing. And you can focus manually, but it's not a macro lens. So yeah, I usually bring my 90mm macro lens, I bring the 24 to 70mm lens, and I bring like a prime lens, which can be the 50mm lens, and I'm looking into the 85 or the 135. So yes, I always bring 2 full frame bodies, 2 speed lights, bunch of SD cards, batteries, battery packs, whatever. Some water, some snacks, some sunscreen, some lip balm, some aspirin, some picnic blankets, something like that. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe and leave a comment. I'll hopefully see you in the comments and you'll see me in my next video. Bye bye!